This presentation is about World War I weapons. The first weapons we're going to talk about is the rifle. This was the main weapon used by British soldiers in the trenches, was the bolt action rifle. 15 rounds could be fired in a minute and a person 1,400 metres away could be killed. Some names of rifles are Lee Enfield, Lee Metford, Pattern 1914 Enfield and the Martini Enfield.
Okay, the next was the machine gun, which was probably something which was very new to war. The next weapons were machine guns. Machine guns needed 4 to 6 men to work them and had to be on a flat surface. They had a fire power of 100 guns. Some names of machine guns are Vickers machine gun, the Maxim gun, the Lewis gun, the Hotchkiss Mark I, and 1895 Colt Browning machine gun.
Another weapon they used in World War I was gas. Mustard gas was the most deadly weapon used. It was fired in the trenches in shells. It is colourless and takes 12 hours to take effect. Effects include blistering skin, vomiting, sore eyes, internal and external bleeding. Death can take up to 5 weeks. There are lots of types of gases such as vomiting gases, tear gases, blistered gases and choking gases.
Another weapon that used for the first time in World War I was the use of the aeroplane. Planes used for the first time. At first they were used to deliver bombs and for spying work, but became fighter aircraft armed with machine guns, bombs and some time cannons. Fights between 2 planes in the sky became known as dogfights.
Another weapon they used was grenades. The Germans introduced the handgun, better known as the stick grenade, into the battlefield. They worked in the same way as today's grenades, pull out the pin and throw it. The Mills bomb introduced into battle by the British looks more like a hand grenade that would be used today. Both of these bombs were designed to cause maximum damage in confined spaces.
And yet another weapon seen for the first time was tanks. Now it was used for the first time in the First World War in the infamous Battle of the Somme. The first tank was called Little Willie and needed a crew of 3. Its maximum speed was 3 miles per hour and it could not cross trenches. So obviously, whilst it was a new weapon of war, it actually had its limitations in the First World War simply because of the nature of trench warfare. Most of them broke down or got bogged down in the mud.
Another weapon used was Zeppelin. The Zeppelin, also known as blimp, was an airship that was used during the early part of the war in bombing raids by the Germans. They carried machine guns and bombs. However, they were abandoned because they were too easy to shoot out of the sky.
Another weapon, which was not actually necessarily very new, was swords. Swords are a piece of metal that countries used in war to cut people open. Some names of swords which were used, still used in the First World War, was the 1897 pattern, the 1908 and 1912 pattern cavalry swords and claymore.
The last weapon we're going to talk about is the handgun. Handguns were given to all the men in the back line, and the handgun is a firearm designed to be held and operated by one hand.